I can't believe how much we harvested today.
I know, this basket is so heavy.
I think we need to focus on marketing now.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I know, but I think it's important to keep trying.
You're right, I shouldn't give up so easily.
I'm not sure what happened, but it's very different from what it used to be.
It used to be very quiet.
So I think for me, the most important thing is to be honest with yourself and to be honest with others.
We need to move the bamboo before it rains.
You're right, let's get it done quickly.
Oh, my leg! I think it's broken.
The dawn broke slowly over the rugged hills, casting pale light on a woman's weary figure as she searched desperately across the barren, cracked earth. Her eyes scanned the dry, unforgiving landscape for something precious: water, a resource scarce and elusive in this remote, mountainous terrain. The air hung heavy with silence, broken only by the faint rustling of leaves and the distant calls of unseen creatures. This was no ordinary search. Every step she took was weighted with urgency, the burden of countless nights filled with worry pressing down on her shoulders. Returning to a home locked tight against the world, she found no welcoming warmth, only the empty stillness of an absent family. Her children had already left early, swallowed by the demands of labor far from the comfort of the household. The heavy door refused entry, a silent reminder of the chaos that had unsettled their lives. But the woman was undeterred. Her heart was anchored by a resolve that no lock could break, no distance could erode. The land itself was changing, worn and ragged like the wilted leaves of the crops she tended. Her gaze drifted over the withered vegetables, the pale cucumbers hanging limp on twisted vines, their promise of life stolen by neglect, and the marauding chickens that tore through the fragile fences meant to protect them. The earth, once a source of abundant life, now whispered of loss and hardship. Yet beneath this hardship lay a flicker of hope. The woman's mind raced with plans, new fences to raise, new seeds to sow, a fresh start promised by the promise of rain and the hardiness of life itself. One morning, as the sun ascended higher, a stranger appeared at the edge of the farm. This man, bearing the aura of both determination and careful calculation, spoke of a vision of renewal, of turning these neglected fields into a beacon of agricultural innovation. His words carried the weight of investment and opportunity. He spoke of clean, efficient cultivation, of introducing new crops that would revive the soil and the spirits of those who depended on it. A sum of 3 billion dong was proposed, a considerable pledge to bring this dream to life over the next 5 years. The woman listened, the seeds of trust and anticipation taking root alongside the promise of partnership. As the days unfolded, a new chapter began to take shape. Conversations with this investor sparked a cautious optimism, a bridge between past struggles and future possibilities. Meanwhile, far from the fields, the mother of a prominent businessman made a return to her homeland, rekindling ties with old friends and encountering new faces who bore the promise of fresh alliances. Among them was a young woman, poised and intelligent, ready to step into roles of responsibility and influence. The mother's approval for this young woman to trial as a secretary opened doors not only to careers, but to intertwined destinies. Meanwhile, the businessman himself navigated his own challenges, managing finances, investing in projects, and seeking moments of peace amid the relentless bustle. His daily routines took him through markets where the sense of fresh fruit and the vibrancy of street life contrasted with the weighty concerns that pressed on his mind. A sudden message brought concern, news that the woman who tended the farm had been driven from her home, her presence now uncertain. Worry mingled with resolve as he reached out, determined to offer support and care from afar. Fate would intervene when a chance encounter reunited these lives. The woman, weakened by heat and exhaustion, found aid from an unexpected hand, the mother of the businessman, whose kindness bridged gaps of mistrust and distance. Surprised by the woman's resilience and the steady care she had managed to maintain over her farm, the mother offered counsel and companionship, suggesting that perhaps it was time for the woman to return to a more secure place. But the bonds forged in solitude and struggle ran deep, and the farm remained a sanctuary of independence and hard-won dignity. The businessman's arrival at the farm revealed more than just landscapes and crops. It unveiled connections and memories. The mother's revelations painted a picture of shared histories and unexpected kinships. Conversations unfolded, weaving past encounters into the present as understanding blossomed amid the fields. Concern for health, for comfort, for future growth mingled in the gentle exchanges. Suggestions to ease burdens, to provide transportation, to nurture the fragile balance between work and well-being surfaced, met with quiet gratitude and the steadfast desire for self-reliance, the promise of future endeavors. To beautify the farm, to seek healing, lingered in the air like the fragrance of ripe fruit. Yet beneath this calm, the shadows of the harsh sun and relentless labor remained. Cautions were spoken about the dangers of the scorching midday heat, reminders that the body must be guarded as fiercely as the soil. The woman's quiet acknowledgement of these truths reflected the courage and resilience that had carried her through the darkest hours. The farm itself stood as a testament to endurance, a patchwork of sweat and hope, of setbacks and small victories. The chickens and ducks, symbols of livelihood and life's cycles, moved through the fields, unaware of the larger struggles waged in the hearts of those who tended them. Each seed planted, each sprout nurtured, was a defiant act against despair. The horizon held promise, though veiled in uncertainty. The ties of friendship, of family, of shared endeavor offered threads of connection that might yet weave a new tapestry of life. Through the heat and the hardship, through the fading light of day and the whisper of winds among the leaves, the story of a woman, a farm, and the fragile hope of renewal continued. A story of strength, love, and the enduring fight to claim a place in the world. As days turned into weeks, the farm transformed slowly yet steadily, a living testament to perseverance against adversity. The once withered crops began to show faint signs of revival, though the scars left by neglect and harsh elements remained visible on the brittle leaves and depleted soil. The woman's determination fueled every effort, repairing fences that had been broken by wandering chickens, enriching the earth with new nutrients, and carefully monitoring every seedling that dared to sprout from the stubborn ground. Amidst this physical labor, an undercurrent of hope pulsed steadily, strengthened by the promises made by the stranger who sought to breathe new life into the fields through his ambitious agricultural project. The plan was clear: to test innovative, sustainable crops using advanced techniques that respected the land's fragile balance. Yet such grand ambitions carried their own shadows. The woman wrestled with the uncertainty of relinquishing control over the land that had been her refuge, her battlefield, and her sanctuary. The thought of a 5-year lease tethered her to an unknown future, one where her dreams might be subsumed by corporate hands, even as they offered the promise of financial stability. Meanwhile, in a bustling city far from the farm's quiet struggles, the businessman maneuvered through a labyrinth of responsibilities. The weight of managing projects, investing capital, and ensuring the livelihoods of countless workers bore heavily on his shoulders. Yet amidst boardroom meetings and phone calls, fleeting moments of simplicity and normalcy surfaced. The scent of fresh fruit at a roadside stall, the mundane joy of selecting produce, the familiar rhythms of daily life that grounded him even in turbulent times. News reached him that the woman he cared for had faced harsh rejection at home, cast out by the very family meant to shelter and protect her. This revelation sparked a mixture of concern and guilt, compelling him to reach out, even from afar, with messages of care and offers of assistance. The chasm between their worlds seemed wide, yet the threads of connection tugged persistently, weaving an intricate tapestry of shared fate. Fate, however, often operates through unexpected encounters. One scorching afternoon, the woman's body faltered under the unrelenting sun. Dizziness and exhaustion claimed her strength, and she found herself stranded on the edge of collapse. It was then that the businessman's mother appeared, a figure of unexpected kindness and warmth. Without hesitation, she stepped forward to offer shelter and care, guiding the woman gently back to the farm's modest refuge. Their meeting was a convergence of past and present, of old friendships rekindled and new alliances forged. The mother expressed genuine admiration for the woman's resilience, noting the surprising vitality with which she had managed to nurture the farm despite overwhelming challenges. In their conversations, the woman shared fragments of her story: the painful estrangement, the struggle for independence, the longing for security. The mother, moved by these revelations, extended counsel and support, suggesting that perhaps returning to live with family might ease the burdens weighing her down. Yet the woman's attachment to the farm ran deep. It was more than just land. It was the embodiment of her hard-won autonomy and a symbol of hope for a better future. She spoke with quiet pride about the landscape she had shaped, the crops she had coaxed from the earth, and the peaceful solitude she found amidst the fields. The farm was a sanctuary from a world that often seemed harsh and unyielding. As the businessman arrived at the farm, the scene unfolded into a moment of revelation. The mother's familiarity with the woman's past illuminated connections previously hidden. A shared history, intertwined destinies, and the lingering echoes of meetings long ago in distant marketplaces. This gathering was not just a chance encounter, but a rekindling of bonds stretched across time and circumstance. Their conversations drifted toward care and concern. The businessman's attentiveness to the woman's health and well-being reflected a tenderness that transcended mere obligation. He cautioned her about the dangers of the sun and the importance of rest, urging her to guard her strength as vigilantly as she guarded the farm. The woman, in turn, expressed heartfelt gratitude for the family's concern, acknowledging the complicated past, yet embracing the possibility of healing and support. Plans for the future took shape in whispered hopes, adding greenery to the farm with ornamental plants, seeking traditional healing remedies, and finding ways to balance labor with care. The vision of beautifying the farm was more than aesthetic. It was a metaphor for renewal, a statement that life, despite its trials, could bloom again. Yet, even in these moments of calm, the shadow of the harsh environment loomed large. The midday sun remained a relentless adversary, its heat capable of sapping strength and spirit. The warnings against exposure were stark reminders that survival depended not just on labor and willpower, but also on wisdom and caution. The farm's daily rhythms continued, punctuated by the soft clucking of chickens and the gentle rustling of ducks amidst the fields. These creatures were silent witnesses to the cycles of hardship and hope, of toil and triumph. Each day brought new challenges: the threat of the sun, the need to repair broken fences, the uncertainty of harvests, yet also moments of quiet joy and reflection. The woman's story was one of endurance and quiet courage. a testament to the human spirit's ability to strive forward even when the odds seemed insurmountable. The ties that bound her to the land, to family, and to newfound friends created a fragile but resilient network of support. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the fields, the promise of tomorrow lingered, a future shaped by effort, hope, and the unwavering will to reclaim a place of peace and prosperity in the world. The days that followed tested every ounce of resilience the woman could muster. The sun's unforgiving glare continued to scorch the land, threatening to undo the fragile progress made in reviving the farm. Yet despite the sweltering heat, she pressed on. Each step across the cracked earth, every repaired fence post, every seed planted was an act of defiance against the harshness that surrounded her. Her body, however, was beginning to show signs of wear. The earlier episode of sunstroke lingered in her mind like a haunting shadow, a stark reminder of her vulnerability. She became more cautious, choosing to rise before dawn when the air was cool and the lights soft. The farm came alive with the quiet symphony of nature, birds singing in the trees, dew glistening on the leaves, and the gentle murmur of the breeze. These moments of calm offered brief respite, yet the looming challenges of survival were never far away. Meanwhile, the businessman remained deeply involved in his demanding ventures. His days were consumed by meetings and negotiations, the relentless balancing act between finance and human livelihoods. He invested carefully in various projects, including supporting the woman's farm indirectly by providing funds and resources. Despite his heavy workload, he often thought of the woman, her struggles, and the quiet strength she embodied. Messages of concern and encouragement crossed the distance between them, tangible threads connecting their disparate worlds. Back on the farm, the presence of the businessman's mother was a source of unexpected comfort. Her visits became more frequent, bringing with them warmth and a sense of family that the woman had long been denied. Together, they worked side by side, tending to plants, mending fences, and sharing stories beneath the shade of towering trees. The mother's kindness softened the woman's heart, gradually bridging the gap of years and grievances. Their bond deepened as they exchanged knowledge. The mother imparted traditional wisdom on medicinal herbs and healing practices, while the woman shared her experiences of nurturing the land and managing daily hardships. They planned for the future, envisioning a farm not only productive, but also a sanctuary of healing and renewal. This partnership rekindled the woman's hope, filling her with renewed purpose. However, shadows from the past and present conflicts were never far behind. The woman's estranged family remained a complicated presence. Their absence felt as keenly as their rejection. Conversations with the businessman revealed layers of history marked by pain and misunderstanding. He confided his own burdens, the weight of family expectations, the struggle to reconcile loyalty with justice, and the desire to protect those he cared about. Their shared vulnerabilities forged a tentative alliance, one built on mutual respect and a desire for redemption. As the farm slowly blossomed under their combined efforts, new challenges emerged. The arrival of young chickens and ducks added life and noise to the quiet fields, but also brought new responsibilities, safeguarding them from predators, ensuring their feed, and managing their growth. The woman found solace in these small creatures, their innocent dependence a reminder of the simpler joys amidst hardship. The community surrounding the farm began to take notice. Neighbors, once distant or indifferent, showed curiosity and tentative support. Some offered help with labor or shared advice on crop management. Others brought gifts of seeds or seedlings, small tokens of goodwill that nurtured not only the land, but also human connections. This growing network of support gave the woman a newfound sense of belonging and resilience. Despite these positive developments, the farm's future remained uncertain. Financial pressures loomed, with the businessman's investments spread thin and ongoing projects demanding attention and funds. The woman grappled with the reality that her dream required more than just hard work and determination. It needed sustainable support, strategic planning, and perhaps difficult compromises. Conversations between the woman and the businessman increasingly turned toward these practicalities. They discussed ways to diversify crops, implement water-saving techniques, and explore new markets for produce. They contemplated partnerships with local cooperatives and agricultural experts to boost productivity and profitability. These discussions were tinged with cautious optimism, tempered by the recognition that success was neither guaranteed nor easily won. Through it all, their personal relationship grew stronger. Moments of laughter and shared meals offered brief escapes from the relentless challenges. They spoke openly about hopes, fears, and dreams, weaving a tapestry of trust and companionship that promised to withstand future storms. The woman's gratitude for the businessman's family's support deepened into genuine affection, a balm for old wounds and a beacon for new beginnings. As the seasons shifted, so did the rhythms of the farm. New crops sprouted, promising bountiful harvests. The once barren fields now pulsed with life, a mosaic of greens and colors dancing in the sunlight. The farm's transformation mirrored the woman's own journey, from isolation and hardship toward community and renewal. Yet the path ahead remained fraught with uncertainty. The scars of past wounds, the complexities of family dynamics, and the unpredictable forces of nature all threatened to disrupt their fragile progress. Still, armed with resilience, hope, and the strength found in newfound alliances, the woman and her companions faced the future with determination. In the quiet twilight, as the farm rested beneath a sky painted with stars, a sense of peace settled over the land. It was a peace born not of ease, but of hard-fought endurance, a promise that even in the harshest conditions, life could find a way to flourish.